Amityville, A New Generation is about an evil haunted mirror. I feel there should be an odd-numbered Amityville movies suck rule in effect. I mean, I know most of the movies are bad, but 3 and 5 were really boring, and unfortunately 7 is pretty dull too. It is a lot better than 3 and 5, I will say. There are a lot of good ideas that are used, but it doesn't take full advantage of its ideas, and by the end you really just feel kind of empty. The main character is named Keys Terry. It feels like someone entered his name backwards, like it was supposed to be Terry Keys, but no, his name is Keys. If anyone watching this is named Keys, it's not meant as an insult, but when you think of names for a character in a movie, it's very rare that you'll run into someone whose first name is Keys. Keys is an art photographer and lives in a boarding house with a bunch of other artists. He's a pretty bland protagonist, unfortunately, but the movie is about him, which definitely makes it better than Amityville 3: The Demon, where the movie is supposed to have John as the protagonist, and most of the time, it barely feels like he's in it. A homeless man gives Keys a mirror that, as it turns out, came from the original Amityville house. However, Keys has a larger connection to the house than just the mirror. As it turns out, the homeless man is actually Keys' long-lost father, who murdered his parents and siblings at the original house. Seriously, how many families got slaughtered in that house? Anyway, the father was later committed to a mental hospital and murdered Keys' mother when they came for a visit right in front of him. The hospital, over time, started shutting down and patients were released like Keys' father. Of course, there's a demon inside of the mirror from the house who wants Keys to recreate the original murder of his family, only with his friends in the boarding house. Keys at first doesn't want the mirror and gives it to his friend Suki, a painter who is his best friend, who seems to kind of be a new agey person, but well, you'll see that that's kind of pointless. Suki's ex-boyfriend, while drunk, comes into her apartment one night and, in one of the more creative death scenes, sees injuries start to appear on him in the mirror's image, which then come true when he crashes through a window and falls to his death. Suki gets killed by the mirror as well, but that one is just confusing. The mirror image makes her hang herself, which she does because, well, I have no idea. It's kind of stupid. Terry O'Quinn, who many will recognize as John Locke from Lost, plays a detective who's investigating the murders in the building and stumbles across the information about Keys' father. He's worried that Keys will suffer a psychotic break from everything that happened, especially since whatever drove his father insane could happen to him too. However, he's not some asshole cop. He genuinely wants to help Keys, which I like. It's easy for movies to play stereotypes, like asshole cops who dislike people just because of a gut feeling they might go bad. As Keys learns more information about his father, we start getting some of the more interesting bits, like where he takes his father's place in the mental institution, which is very reminiscent to Phantasmagoria 2: A Puzzle of the Flesh. Seriously, all you're missing is Joey Fatone talking about disco dancing.
Disco dance, disco dance, disco dance.
Joey Fatone!
He and some of the other artistes in the boarding house put together an exhibition, including one of the dumbest pieces of art. A comfy chair, a camera pointed at it, and the camera's image displayed on TV. And a loaded shotgun aimed at the person in the chair.
The TV set, I mean, everyone's used to watching violence on TV, right? I'm giving them an option.
Look, I get the idea of the art, but why in God's name would you put an actual loaded shotgun into it? He says it's on a timer and won't go off until 2001. This was made in 1993. But why would you risk something going wrong or anything like that? That is a recipe for disaster, Nimrod! In probably the best sequence in the movie, Keys is sucked into the mirror, where he walks through the walls of the mental asylum his father was in, but each of the rooms contains one of the victims of the mirror. It's pretty cool and very reminiscent of the Silent Hill Otherworld. Keys takes the aforementioned loaded shotgun and the mirror tries to get him to kill his girlfriend and other friends with it, but instead predictably shoots the mirror. A bland end to a bland movie. Amityville: A New Generation has good ideas, but doesn't take full advantage of them. It's watchable, but not a must-see in the series. Fast forward to the good bits, I say.